Coming up on this week's episode of Hip Hop Now podcast, it's 50 Cent versus T.I. and the family. I voted for the nominees of the 2026 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And Busta Rhymes is dropping a sequel to his album with J Dilla, Dillagence 2. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember Dillagence 1, but we're gonna talk about it. Let's do it.
Welcome to Hip Hop Now podcast. If you're from the future, you know what to do. Get your ass out of here. Don't disrespect the legend. Hip hop is here to stay. Let's get right into the business.
What up, y'all? I am your host, Vegas, and this is Hip Hop Now Podcast, a podcast specifically designed to keep you caught up on all things hip-hop music and culture that happened throughout the week. Big shout out to those who have been listening in audio form. 2026 is the 10th year anniversary of this podcast. You know, that's why we got it decked out in all gold logos and backgrounds and all that. And we have merch with the gold logo that will really only be available in 2026. So if you support the podcast in audio form, video, or whatever, the link to check out some of that merch, especially when it's on sale, which includes t-shirts, hoodies, hats, different things like that, bars. And maybe I'll wear a shirt or two so y'all could check it out in person, you know. But appreciate everybody, especially everybody also on YouTube. Shout out to the members of this channel. And if you would like to become a member of Hip Hop Now podcast, which is a growing community of people, 34,000 plus subscribers and climbing right here on the channel. So if you haven't, subscribe, but definitely hit that like button, hype the video, and comment. Let's just get right into it, man. Some of these stories are coming from places like Hip Hop DX and Complex and social media. Let's do it. So you probably are on social media. You probably pay attention sometimes. I'm talking to these people, right? Not you other guys. Watch. And you might have said to yourself, what is going on with 50 Cent and T.I. and his family? Like, what's happening? Here's the timeline, because we're not going to spend a lot of time on this, because this isn't a serious rap battle, in my opinion. But we're going to say what's happening. So T.I. in the interview talked about a versus that was allegedly set up between him and 50 Cent. I say allegedly because I don't know. Okay. You can confirm in the comments. But T.I. said that 50 Cent chickened out. He didn't want to do a versus against him, right? And so 50, who is an internet troll, beyond the other work he does, like on television, stuff like that, he started trolling, right? But it sort of escalated because he posted a picture of Tiny, who is Tiny from the group Escape, who is T.I.'s wife, and obviously the mother of his children. And his children are of age. So they started responding, and T.I. responded with what I believe is 4 diss records, right? First one, I was just kind of like, yeah, it's cool. But I really liked the part where he started talking about like being a black man. I was like, okay, T.I., right? But he dropped 4 diss records. Then his son, I don't know his name, y'all, the one with the pink lips, like that, him, who I'm talking about, right? I'm not wrong. Just put his name in the comments. I'll get it, right? But nevertheless, he was hot because he should be. That's his mama. Like, it don't matter what you may feel. You may have thought that picture was funny also when 50 posted it, but that's somebody's mama. that's how people get, that's how you're supposed to get down, right? So he was angry, supposedly posted some paperwork, because I know everybody paying attention to the diss records, but some paperwork on 50 being a snitch, which has always kind of happened. And who knows, maybe it's the same paperwork that came out a while ago that, I don't know, Ja Rule and them put out. But then he had a freestyle dissing him. It was trash. I'm not gonna lie. But then their son, who, like, to me, he rapped for real, like the way we like rap. He put out a record called Miss Jackson. And what I didn't say about the younger son versus his older son is they're talking about 50's moms. And they've been going heavy, especially the younger son, heavy on 50's moms. Now, if you don't know, 50 Cent's mother was murdered years ago. I think he might have been like 8 or something like that when that happened. And T.I.'s son posted a picture of 50 as a young kid holding up a picture, I guess he drew, of his mother. And he was like, you an artist, go do art. You know, dig your mother up. Can you be with your mother? And I was like, nah, T.I., you got to stop them on that. Like, it's one thing, it's one thing to talk about, you know, rap skills or your movements as a businessman, you know, ducking the verses. Oh, that's fair game. But when you start saying dig your mama up, now I'm not saying 50 gonna go and try to fight a little kid. I would hope not. But he's of age enough to know, like, maybe you should just said that in private, because what it does is, in this situation, is making 50 just look like this troll and this bully, because why bring Tiny into the situation when it's really just about T.I. and he a rapper and he rapping at you? Then that's what it should be. But 50 Cent really stopped being that guy, even though he didn't stop rapping. He stopped being the, I'm a start a beef and then we gonna go back and forth on records. Just adds Jim Jones in them, right? So what happened? 50 didn't write one bar about them. Now, the same thing can be said here, right? T.I. got 4 songs. His sons done put songs out. Like, they going hard. And 50's really responded with tweets and Instagram posts and stuff like that. But I don't know why people fall into this trap every time when it comes to this guy. Pay attention to the movements. Now, I'm going to tell you what I think in regards to 50 and responses, and then we're going to move on. Because I don't care about the gossip, right? If you ain't rapping for real, who cares? If you get a song from 50, it will be after he's made some kind of move against T.I., right? Let's think about Jim Jones. Jim Jones, Mano, Davies, and Fabulous. And Fabulous had by far the best verse, but they all made lyrics about 50 because they, you know, their whole situation started when they were saying 50 was wrong for making the documentary about Diddy. And 50 responded by saying to Jim Jones, who had the podcast space, you know, you're behind in your rent. Don't make me buy that place or buy a stake in it. And he wound up doing that. And Jim Jones was still behind and he was locked out. All kinds of things. Cut the lights off, everything was locked out. Okay. And there's video footage of Jim Jones trying to kick his way in, which is so stupid. You're on camera, you're going to court, dog. You're going to court. Like, this is what I don't like about y'all on the internet talking about street and hip hop as if it's the same thing and ignoring business, dog. You can't do that. And guess what? Maybe you gonna go on a run if you so street. I ain't paying that. Okay. They gonna come find you and I'm gonna get my money. So I think 50 would make a move on T.I. in some way that would impact T.I. directly, because I don't think doing anything against the kids or Tiny again, don't do that, okay? But T.I. had some serious gun charges. I know y'all forgot. He had some serious gun charges. So what if there's paperwork? And maybe that's what 50's getting at. But even if he does that, and I know some people say, well, he still ain't rapping. 50's the type to do that, watch people's reaction, and then rap about it. Because he's just going to rap to confirm. Jim Jones is cold trying to get inside for some heat. But we saw the video, and we were like, oh, he said that. So if he got something for T.I., he's going to make that move first. If he was smart, he would just reveal it, right? A la Pusha T with Drake and his son. Like, you know, why you hiding that, boy? It was like, oh, wait, what? What is he hiding? So it could be one of those things where that's how things play out, or they just flame out, right? Because to be honest, as a real hip hop head, and I don't even like to use that term, I feel like I don't take this seriously. I would have taken it seriously if with the first diss record that T.I. put out, 50 followed with a freestyle. Then I would have been like, oh. But also, I would have preferred this happen about 20 years ago when they both were really active. Because let's not forget, T.I. just got active again after a failed comedy situation. I know y'all didn't forget that, did you? So he got active again, and I don't mind because I think T.I. is at his best when he's making music. And his catalog is slept on. He got more heat than duds. I don't even know if he has a whack album, to be honest. So there's that. But we know that 50 as a rapper, he hasn't been completely active, right? A verse here, a verse there is not necessarily being active. Nas is active. Okay? Nas is active. 50 is more so like, I can still do it. I do it for business. I do it for exposure, which is all business. He's not rapping for supremacy, right? Or to add to his legend as a rapper. 50 is literally doing things as a brand. Literally. So that's what I think about it. I mean, y'all tell me what y'all think. Did you like the diss records that came from T.I. and his kids? Do you want 50 Cent to respond? Or do you not care? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Next. So maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, it could be more. I just don't remember. I didn't know that you could vote for nominees in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And any of those fan votes of things I'm passionate about, like music, like sports, I typically put my vote in because I care, right? I also vote when it comes to government. So back off, internet, activists. But it came up in my email. It was time to vote for the 2026 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I had no idea who the nominees were. Just for an example, here are examples of people who were. Who else? I think Missy's in there, right? Yeah, Missy, Salt and Pepper last year. Jay-Z, Eminem, Tupac, Biggie, Outkast, Tribe, Run DMC, LL, and Public Enemy. But this year, the 2026 nominees that aren't all hip hop and R&B, right, is Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Included the Black Crowes, Jeff Buckley, Mariah Carey, Phil Collins, Melissa Etheridge, I'm not familiar with her, Lauryn Hill, Billy Idol, Iron Maiden, Joy Division, New Order. I'm really not familiar with them. New Edition, Oasis, Pink, Sade, Shakira, Luther Vandross, and Wu-Tang Clan. And who did I vote for? I think you could only vote for, 7 nominees. And some of them were very easy. But here's my 7. because I got to look at the list again. I'm an old man. Phil Collins. Surprised he's not in there anyway. Lauryn Hill. Iron Maiden. You didn't think I listened to that music, did you? New Edition. Come on, man. That's a layup. Sade. Luther Luther was the first person I chose. Okay. And lastly, Wu-Tang Clan. Of course I did for the Wu. Who do I think will get in this year? I think the Wu is absolutely getting in, hands down. I'm afraid for Luther because y'all be forgetting about Luther. Hopefully the documentary reminded y'all of his talents. I think Sade's getting in. I think Pink is probably getting in. Y'all better show up for New Edition, I'm saying. I think Iron Maiden's getting in. I think Phil Collins is getting in also. And I don't think Lauren's getting in this time. I think Mariah Carey might get in as a result because she's obviously had a lot of hits. She's had a couple of, dope albums in her history. And then she has an annual classic record that I hate to hear sometimes in her Christmas record that and I know. Just don't say the name loud because we don't want it to come back. Okay? Till next year. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, and I know I say this all the time, but I absolutely mean it. And I'm not going to use his name. But the homie, the guy from the band Kiss, who feels like rappers and other people outside of rock and roll shouldn't be a part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I think a lot of hip hop fans kind of feel the same way also. Like, it's cool, but it's also like we need a hip hop Hall of Fame. And I believe that's on the way, but that takes money and backing, and like it just has to be a thing for real, right? And I think that's going to happen. But the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, when they started to add people to as nominees that weren't like rock stars or rock and roll, artists and musicians, I think it was the idea of what a rock star is, right? It's a little bit of impact and influence and popularity and your work, your career, right? Like the music you created, people you've collaborated with, probably way more on the impact side. And rock and roll is just a framing. So it's not really just a genre of music Hall of Fame. It's more like if they called it the Superstar Hall of Fame. That's what I think it is. Because the Wu is like international popularity. And a lot of those guys, Eminem, Jay-Z, Nas, Biggie, like all of those guys are kind of on that level, right? As far as popularity and musical impact. But I think what's confusing is because at one point not too long ago, they were just kind of known for that rock and roll. This is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But for those who like to say like to play the race card, and sometimes I don't like to say that because that takes away from the discussion, right? It says that it's not important because they're trying to throw this veil over your eyes called the race card and make it about race. But guess what? It is about race, because if you want to talk rock and roll and who started it, right? And the biggest influencers, I mean, Little Richard told you all the time. You know what I'm saying? Don't believe Back to the Future because that didn't happen. Chuck Berry did that for real. And it wasn't somebody from the future doing what he does, and his cousin had to put him on the phone to be like, Chuck Berry, no, it didn't happen. Okay. Now that's providing you saw Back to the Future. I may be dated, but it's one of my favorite movies. So Chuck Berry, Jimi Hendrix, Little Richard. We are rock and roll. Okay? But the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame never shied away from that either. So it's one of those things where I get it from somebody like him, all that hip hop coming over here and taking over. In some ways, it's true, right? Because when I look at the list, I'm like, damn, Luther on here? But they have their reasons. And I voted for Iron Maiden, right? It can't be all R&B and hip hop getting in there. Like I couldn't believe Phil Collins wasn't already in there. So you know what I mean? Like it was more so about, at least for me as someone who's voting, knowing the music of these artists, knowing the impact on their fan base and the genre as a whole, and their status as superstars. And when it comes to hip hop, when you look at who's already in there, imagine those who aren't in there. When you're talking about impact, right? Like Rakim will probably never get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and not because he has the biggest impact. He influenced the guys who's already in there, but Rakim didn't sell a lot of records, and Rakim is more so, him within hip hop as the god, but outside of that, some people aren't familiar. They may be familiar with his songs, but sometimes people don't connect songs to the person, and that means you're not having the same type of impact. So those were the people I voted for. We'll see who gets in. But it was dope to see a lot of great artists nominated, especially those like Sade and Luther, and Phil Collins, who you think like, man, the music they have here for you, especially like in their prime or whatever, or just throughout their career, they deserve that kind of recognition. So lastly, so I saw this story and I was a little bit distracted by the pictures that they chose to use, because it was like skinny Busta with this crazy outfit on. But then I forgot that's how Busta used to dress at one point in time, which it's not the worst thing in the world. I think it just was different because when he had the locks, it was like a part of the outfit. So it kind of worked for Busta. Now he got the black shoe polish Caesar with the weird outfit on and the teeth, and it looks kind of crazy. Like it just does. But that's not the point. I was distracted by that. But then I saw that Busta Rhymes, and this is on hiphopdx.com, go check them out. Busta Rhymes and J Dilla dropping new album, Dillagence 2. And this is dropping this year. So the Flip Mode Squad frontman held a listening session in New York City on February 20th for Dillagence 2, the sequel to his and Dilla's original 2007 mixtape. Joined by Static Selector and DJ Tony Touch, Busta gave a room full of lucky fans and friends the first opportunity to hear the project, which includes what appears to be a collaboration with Lil Wayne. Now, let me see if I could find the release date. Okay, haven't been further details such as a release date or track list have yet to be revealed. Now, I'm not going to lie to y'all. Back in 2007, I was transitioning from living in Baltimore for like 4 years and also going to school there. So I was in Baltimore for probably 10 years or whatever. But after school, I was there. So now I was coming back to the tri-state area, buying a house. So music, and I wasn't really like heavy on the podcast side or even the blogging side like I became later. So I was a casual, right? I was checking for what I knew or heard. If it was available to go buy, I would buy it. And that was it. But I was on the internet and I remember the original Dillagence. But I remember the cover. and I don't remember not one song. And that doesn't mean that's not a critique on the project. It's just that it's something that I kind of forget about. And I think I kind of forget about it because of streaming services. Like a lot of times, if things aren't in your face on streaming services, you forget that they even happen. And let me just look real quick on Apple Music, because I'm almost positive this mixtape, the original mixtape, Dillagence, isn't under Busta at all. Like all his albums are here. Yeah. Even, oh, hold up, this is kind of crazy, because even his remember he did a whole mixtape with Q-Tip, like the Dragons back or something, or somebody chased the dragons, or I don't remember, some dragons. Okay. Yeah, it's not here, but obviously we can go find it. Obviously we can go listen to it and check it out. But it was, I would just remember it being a dope project to commemorate the relationship between J Dilla and Busta Rhymes. And to have a part 2 is dope, because I remember Busta talking a while back, like how he had other joints and he had beats still from J Dilla and how he was going to use them. So, and if Static Selector is involved and Tony Touch, then this could be dope depending on what it sounds. And honestly, it could be the project that Busta should drop, because he put out that one album. Well, let me see, because I erased it from memory. Blockbuster. And nobody liked that. Because when he put out his Extinction Level Event 2, everybody thought that album was crazy, right? Too many skits. Chris Rock was there too much for me. I think it was Chris Rock. But when he put out Blockbuster in 2023, it was like, oh man, this ain't it, Busta. I get it. You're trying to work with the younger people, but does that mean a younger audience now is like, oh, I'm going to go listen to all Busta stuff? I don't think so. Sometimes that shit backfires. And then in 2025, he put out a project called Dragon Season. And I did not like that either. And I don't know why, because it didn't feel like Busta was I think he was responding to the criticism of his previous album. So he just kind of made an extra angry dragon AI filled videos version. And it just was kind of lame. This is what we're talking about. Dilla on the beats. Maybe you got some Dilla verses, who knows? I think Busta's going to do right by this project, and I think it's going to be dope. And he going to be, because we know Busta could make classics, not just good albums. Busta can make a classic. But we shall see. So what I'm going to do, and it's probably your homework also, if you're interested, I'm going to go listen to Dillagence 1. I might own it. I'm going to go find it, okay? And then I'm going to listen to it and then kind of keep my eyes on, a potential release. And I do, this is one thing, this is the last thing I'm going to say. This is one thing I like about it. Busta probably, and he's been talking about this for a while, but he probably looked at Common and Pete Rock, Nas and Primo, right? LL and Q-Tip, and said to himself, if I was to drop Lincoln with one producer, I want it to be Dilla, and I already have the records to do it. So that would be crazy. Now, if he announced this and this happens to be a part of that mass appeal, imagine that. It could be, and it would be dope. So we'll see. What do you think? Are you anticipating Busta and J Dilla's Dillagence 2? Leave your comments in the comment section below. I do read them and I do respond. You can follow me on social media at Vegas World INC. Subscribe to the podcast if you like audio form. It's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, and wherever you get your podcast listening. Also, YouTube. Check out the channel. If you didn't know it was in video form, now you know. Hit the subscribe button to become a part of the team to support the podcast production. check out becoming a member. There are perks that come along with that, like exclusive videos only for members. And I got so much more coming up. And stay tuned for more content from this channel as we continue celebrating the 1996 year anniversary of so many dope albums. I could only do 12. Literally. And we got one coming up in March, so stay tuned. Until next time, y'all, I'm not a critic, I'm a fan. Peace.